Hello, let's talk about diseases. Disease is a condition which impairs the normal functioning of an organism. There are two major types of diseases. We have communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases. Communicable diseases can also be known as infectious diseases, for example, tuberculosis. And non-communicable diseases can also be known as non-infectious diseases, for example, liver diseases and cardiac or heart diseases. Now, aside from these two major types of diseases can also be categorized into different forms, such as a pandemic disease, an epidemic disease, an endemic disease, and a sporadic disease. Now, epidemic diseases are diseases that occurs in a short period of time. That means there is an increase in the number of cases, or there is a sudden increase in the number of cases in a particular area. And an example of an epidemic disease is known as cholera. When there is a sudden outbreak of a particular disease in an area and then later disappear, is known as an epidemic disease. And an endemic disease is a disease which is constantly present in a region or a community. For example, malaria and typhoid is an example of an endemic disease which is constantly present in Cameroon. And we move to a pandemic disease. A pandemic disease is a disease that occurs worldwide. It occurs across the globe, and it occurs in a large area or a large region. An example of a pandemic disease, is known as HIV/AIDS. That's an example. There are so many different examples. So I'm just calling just few examples that we are all aware of the disease situation in the community or in the society. Now we talk about the sporadic diseases. Sporadic diseases are those diseases that does not occur frequently. They occur only occasionally or irregularly. So they are known as sporadic diseases. For example, we talk about polio, we talk about tetanus, we talk about plague, we talk about rabies. They are all examples of a sporadic diseases. So there are diseases, these are all diseases, all these diseases that we have categorized, just know that it falls under two major types. It can either be communicable and non-communicable, or non-communicable diseases. And all these diseases are those diseases that individual or a person might be suffering from. So it is good for you to know the different types of disease that you are suffering from. Is it a communicable disease or a non-communicable disease? And if you are a person or a victim of a communicable disease, you know you have to implement all the necessary measures to make sure that it doesn't cross from one person to another, because communicable disease can easily be crossed from one person to another. So it is good to take all the necessary preventive measures to make sure that you are secured, or even those around you are also secured. And for those with non-communicable diseases, they are diseases that cannot be transmitted from one person to another. And this type of disease is also good for us to do what? Make sure that you seek the doctor's advice or seek medical attention. Thank you so much for you to know the different types of diseases and how it can be very dangerous, or how it may cause the different side adverse effects in the body.